Hey, what's going on guys? Migzuba here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at a Esper control deck for standard best of one. So this deck is built just a little bit weird. It has a lot of one-ofs, it has a lot of two-ofs, and it plays mostly a draw-go control style until the mid or late game where you either need to wipe the board or play a very powerful planeswalker, like tap out threat kind of thing. So we'll get into the list. Mostly, this is a kind of interesting blue-white build testing out, a blue-black build testing out a bunch of new cards, but we're splashing white for two new cards. One is Vanishing Verse. This card is nuts. One white, one black, exile target monocolored permanent. So really good incentive to be in white, putting us in Esper. And the other card I'm trying out on 4 is the Silver Quill Command. So we don't have any creatures. I mean, we can make creatures via Ashiok, but that's literally it. We have no other way to make creatures. Actually, that's not true. We can play Divide by Zero, learn, and get some creature tokens from the board. But anyways, aside from those two ways, we have no actual creatures. So we're not going to reanimate anything. And I mean, while it is possible to give something +3/+3 and flying, this is really here as a 4 mana draw a card and your opponent kills the thing. And I'm thinking that might not be so bad. At sorcery speed, a little worse, but I'm pretty sure sometimes we're pretty happy to do that. So I'm trying out one copy in here since we're in Esper anyways, and it's the beginning of Strixhaven. It's always fun to play with new cards. So aside from that, we are running more frantic inventories than I'm used to. Basically, I saw Mistman running a old blue-black control deck running 4 copies of this, and it looked like it popped off. Like, this card looked really good, so we're going to try it out today. If it doesn't work out, so be it, but I've also been a pretty medium fan of this card in the past. I've never loved it, I've never hated it. You can go back and look at my old blue-black control decks, where I didn't necessarily always want to tap out for Tome, and we were running quite a few frantic inventories in those. So we're going to bring it back for the Strixhaven Esper deck. We also have one Tome, just a one-of, can gain some life, can scribe to your goodies. You guys know I'm a huge fan of the Tome, but we're just trying out one in this deck. For removal, we got the 3 Vanishing Verse because, I mean, while it exiles most things, there's a couple cards, namely like Companions, Lurrus, Yorion, that I'm worried about hitting. So we have Heartless Act and Eliminates on the off chance that Vanishing Verse isn't very good. This can hit very big things, and this can hit pretty much everything else. Vanishing Verse also doesn't deal with Faceless Haven, which I am actually worried about. That's like the main concern. Well, that and Lurrus. So these cards deal with that fairly nicely. Also, sick new Eliminate art. Like, come on, tell me that's not Beast. Anyways, we also have a new counterspell, Test of Talents. So this card got a fair amount of hype, and it reads, counter target instant or sorcery spell. Search its controller's library, hand... graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with the same name as that spell and exile them. Then the player shuffles their library, and there's a little bit of a downside where they draw a card for each card exiled this way that was in their hand. So kind of like a Necromentia / Unmoored Ego on a counter spell. Now this card isn't negate. When we do run negate, by the way, also awesome new art, but it's not negate. It can't counter planeswalkers, artifacts, or enchantments, which is a fair amount of things negate would hit, but it does counter cards like Ultimatum, Drown in the Lock, Into the Story, very powerful cards that we're just trying to get around in this deck, and it lets us play a couple less counter spells. Like, we're not going super hard on the negates, and we're only going in on 2 Sought Comings, because if we can hit an Ultimatum off Test of Talents, then we don't have to worry about countering one for the rest of the game. Like, that's the sort of thing I'm looking to hit with this card. I'm not sure if it's going to be good, but I definitely think it's worth trying out. And one negate because sometimes you just need to counter something that Test of Talents doesn't hit, and it's also good just to be able to hold this up while also holding up like Frantic Inventory. Now, another new card we have is Divide by Zero. We're a more dedicated control deck this time I'm trying it, and I really like this card. I'm going to try to make it work as much as I can. So it reminds me of Aether Gust, as in it says return target spell or permanent with mana value 1 or greater to its owner's hand. This means that you can return spells on the stack, right? Which is really cool. So that's useful insofar as it can stop ETBs, and it can stop spells from resolving temporarily, and you can put them back in your opponent's hand. And then you're able to learn, which is why we have a little learn sideboard, which we can get into very quickly. We have this card to make sure you hit your land drops, and if you need a white source, it fixes for our 1 copy of Plains. Reduced to memory, just versatile exile removal. Comes with a little bit of a downside, but we're in Esper control, so we should be okay with that. Teaching of the Archaics, if we're really behind, we can draw a million cards. Basically, if your opponent has more cards in hand than you, draw 2 cards, draw 3 instead if your opponent has at least 4 more cards in hand than you. So basically just a little reload. Again, just a little reload. We could actually probably cut this for something a little bit better, which I might do later in the video. But yeah, we have this card as just a mini Behold the Multiverse. Introduction to Annihilation, just a removal spell if you need another form of exile removal. Your opponent draws a card, which sucks, but sometimes you just need to kill a thing. Confront the Past, so you can return target Planeswalker card from your graveyard to the battlefield for X, right? And we do have 4 Planeswalkers in the deck, so this can potentially reanimate either an Ashiok or a Professor Onyx, so really tempted to see how that goes, especially if we get it for free off the learn. And it can also kill enemy Planeswalkers, so that could be a pretty cool flex spot on the board. And Mascot Exhibition as our main quote-unquote token generator, kind of like a win con, that type of thing. So yeah, you're probably not casting this very often, but it's here if you need it. 2 Sonnet Comings, because like I said before, I don't want to go too heavy on the counter spells. Double blue can be a problem in an Esper deck on turn 3. We can also foretell it, so we can cast it for 1 blue, which helps. But yeah, by the time you need to hit very expensive spells, this card is probably alive. And if you don't have Vanishing Verse, you can prioritize double blue. The mana is interesting. It's not horrible. We only have like 5 white pips in the whole deck. 3, 4. I'm not even sure where the last one is. 4 white pips. Jesus, what the hell's wrong with me? Anyways, yeah, 4 white pips. My bad on that. Anyways, moving on. Wipe the board, draw some cards. Nightmare is really good against rogues, which is super popular right now. You guys know that. Verdict as an extra board wipe. Ashiok as a alternate win con, also not too bad right now. Shark Typhoon, I like 1 in best of 1. Sometimes I play more, but in these sort of 60 card control decks, your opponent has to respect it, especially when you're holding up counter magic. And you can like cycle it on 2, make sure you hit your lands. Basically just a very flexible card. Your opponent has to be careful when attacking because you can make a blocker at instant speed, and once you've cycled 1, they don't know how many more you have. It holds priority basically. And we have Professor Onyx, new big hitter Planeswalker. It has the Magecraft ability, which you get to gain some life, or basically get to drain your opponent, so they lose 2, you gain 2. We have a ton of instant sorcery, so hopefully we can proc this a fair amount. The +1 draws us some cards, the -, takes out a creature, and the -8 can be an alternate kind of win con, especially if we've damaged the opponent a bit before. Mana base isn't horrible, it's not perfect. We have some temples because at our base we are a blue-black control deck, and when we do have 1 castle, I don't think it's worth running the Sultai Triome. All the pathways, right, super good for mana fixing. Fairly even split. We have 3/3, even though we are a little bit more lean towards black, we do want double blue on turn 3. 1 castle because it's the most powerful one, 1 plains to fetch it off the Fabled Passage or the Environmental Sciences, and 2 Fabled Passage to round off the list. So, deck list will be in the description down below as always. If you like the deck, be sure to drop a like on the video, and consider subscribing, it motivates me to make more content. So that's gonna be it for me guys, let's get into some games. Okay, mana's like fine. We have counter magic, removal. Let's go. Into like nightmares, maybe not. God, what's going on with my voice today? Okay, that's good. Yep, we might need it. Sorry guys, I don't know what's going on. I mean, it is like 11 at night, but whatever, should be good. We keep Heartless Act because even though there's a lot of protection removal, we just might need it. And Vanishing Verse would be way better against mono white, but it is what it is. We take what we can take. This card, not looking too hot against them. Sword of the Realms. Yep. So do we show that we're Esper? I guess. So we're going removal, 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 removal. I'm not even sure what we'd counter in white. That doesn't look too great. Faceless Haven. At least dies to Heartless Act, right? If they pay the mana to equip, I'm just gonna shoot it. You recall opponent. I'll take 1. Yep. That's fine. Like, I'll take the 1, but if now they equip the sword, I'm gonna shoot it. They play Redain? Okay. I mean, I suppose it doesn't really matter. Nightmare's gonna take out the next thing anyways. I guess we'll put this on blue. And we're gonna Nightmare the Speaker. And if they go untap land, hit me with Haven, I guess it's fine. We're still at a healthy life total. But we are going to need to chill on the lands and maybe start drawing some card advantage. I mean, this can technically be card advantage, but it needs to hit something in the hand. I'll see what the opponent has. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually have a Halvar. Their hand can't be amazing based on what they've played, but it can't be horrible either. Kind of like a mid-tier hand. They play a Shadow Spear, okay. And they just slam a Giant Killer. No Quip. That's a lot of land. Well, I guess they played that, so we wouldn't take it. Okay. The thing is, do I really care about either of those cards? Like, we have answers here. I'm gonna thin the deck. Just because we've been drawing a lot of land. We're gonna grab a swamp in case we draw a castle, and we do kind of want more black anyways. But yeah, we're gonna Nightmare this thing. Can get to be a bit annoying. And if they draw a instant or sorcery, it forces them to play it here instead of like a Redain. There's land 4. Do we just see Faceless Haven pull up? It's either that or Redain. I wonder if they're gonna play the shield part. I don't think so. I mean, we do target quite a bit, but we're a control deck. We tend to have mana. Haven just hits for 1, or for 4, sorry. That's fine. It'll die to my Heartless Sack next turn. Event's not bad. Nothing here. This card is kind of dead as well. It's not exactly the matchup for it. And yeah, we just pass. Ashiok, Liliana, Shark Typhoon, any of the draw cards. Like, it's all good. Hollowblade. Okay, gets exiled. Whenever the creature dies, returns to its owner's hand. Does exile count as dying? I'm not even sure. I could Heartless Sack now. No, I don't think we do. I think we save this for the Faceless Haven. And we do nothing with our mana. Sad time. Ooh, we drew Professor Onyx. Well, that's going to get really gross really quickly. So blue or black. I think we want a bit more black based on how our hand has been shaping up. So this actually comes down and then dies to the Faceless Haven, which I don't want. And if I play it and plus it, it'll still die to the Faceless. Actually, it won't, but we're going to event this, and I'm not even sure if this will go to their hand or not. But for science, gets exiled, doesn't. Okay, I wasn't sure, but I've never actually had the interaction with this card happen before yet. And yep, they're just going for the Faceless Haven. And we're going to shoot it. Yep, that can't feel too good. And now in classic Esper... Oh, I should have waited. Whatever, it's fine. Should have waited for the land. In classic Esper control style, we play a big Planeswalker and plus it. And let's grab a removal spell. We don't need the lands anymore. I think we'll be okay.
There has to be an answer here.
And they're on 3 lands. They have a decent amount of artifacts, but like... Equipment versus Redain, it doesn't look too close. I honestly just think I want to cycle this and make Big Shark. Do I make them sacrifice the Redain? Honestly, I could just cycle Shark Typhoon into it. I think we plus here. We have so many good ways to interact. Ooh, these are all pretty good. Let's just grab the hard removal. I don't think we could go wrong with just more targeted removal. And we can pass. Milling myself with Professor Onyx. Feels good. It's pretty funny. If they go for an equip, I just shoot this. So we see... Now... So they're going to make this, what, a 4, and if they equip here 5, then I can just exile it and it's gone, and make a 4/4 shark. And if not, it doesn't block the shark, so we just chill. I'm gonna make the shark. Even though they get this back to their hand, I think that's completely fine. We get the 5/5 on the board, and we can just eliminate this another time. And I say eliminate, I mean just remove it. What do you have for 2 mana? Like, it's white. Kabira's Takedown doesn't do anything. They could have a protection spell, just more removal. Nice. If they had equipped Shadow Spear, I would have played the Vanishing Verse. But yeah, they get it back, but we're chilling for now. And we can put them on a very real clock. Could have plus this first. I guess we'll do so now. Land is fine. We can grab another white source. I mean, I'll grab it. I guess we'll draw. Gain and drain. See if we hit tap land or something. Nightmare, again, it's kind of whatever. Let's just go for more black. We might at one point need to hold open double Vanishing Verse. I don't think it's very relevant though. We can just play this here and pass. Okay. Now opponent's on a very real clock, and we can ultimate Liliana, potentially hit them for 18. Sure. I mean, it really doesn't matter what they take. Especially if they don't do anything else with their turn, I could just play the very expensive spell. You see my Hand of Removal spell Tribal and Test of Talents, like, yeah, can't look too good. Also, sweet little combo with Professor Onyx. If we mill more Frantic Inventories, then our further Frantic Inventories become more powerful. Yeah, expensive Vanishing Verse. I pretty much expected this, but that's fine. Even if we kill it with its ability on the stack, then, you know, same thing ends up happening. We can Heartless Act this, because Eliminate takes out stuff with no counters, and I'd rather have this for exile removal because of things like Hollow Blade. Professor Onyx's Magecraft ability coming through. Are they just dead here? They might be. Okay, I'm just going to attack first. And if I ultimate you, they discard their whole hand, or they just die and then we just kill them with a Frantic Inventory. Yep, seems good.
This is why I'm the teacher.
Oh, it's so beautiful. Feels like good old school Magic. Yep. 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 Oh, we should have technically played this first, but yeah, they were dead with the minus anyways. We could have had them extra dead with another Frantic Inventory, but yeah, really cool. You get to see Professor Onyx Ultimate, and pretty much like the fairest Magic you're going to see today, I think. Okay, no white mana, but we have 2 Scrylands. I think this is fine. If it weren't for the Scrylands, I wouldn't be too sure, but untap land, that's what I'm talking about. And we're a ways off from needing to cast this command against Naya, okay? So, it is fairly important to kill this thing. But thing is, I get to see 2 cards. I don't think it's worth it. I think we want to ensure that we can kill the Sentinel. More land. How good is more land? I think we look for a white source, especially because I have land 3, so we're a little bit punished for not playing this. But I think this was the safe bet, especially because we're about to see like a Clarion Spirit, I would imagine, or not. Opponent's taking a slow game too. At least this fixes our mana a little bit. Command might be good if they can't pop off with a bunch of Clarion Spirit tokens. Okay, and we find Swamp anyways. Yep, nice. Let's take this out. And hopefully we find a piece of 2 mana interaction so we could just pass with Frantic and something else open. And now they're super incentivized to play any instant or sorcery they had. And there you go, Adventurous Impulse. Also, on the draw, we never take turn 2 off to play this tap land. We had the ability to do so because we're on the play. So we take advantage of what we can. Yep, it is Naya. Jeez, okay, well, opponent has a plan, that's for sure. They need lands. They can go Clarion Spirit into Despair Sentinel to draw them a card, yeah, and they're gonna do that. I'm gonna Frantic Inventory, see if I hit something. Nice. Oh geez, not exactly where we want to be. This isn't our best look. I think we dig for removal here. If we have to clear this board before Winota comes down and kills us, that's not exactly it. That's very slow. And command looks really bad here. We find white mana. Alright, so what are we killing? I suppose it's the Clarion Spirit? God, we needed a Heartless Act here. And we just bluff, I guess. All this like, sacrifice one thing looks so bad. Whiff. Let's go. Whiff. Alright. We're just gonna get farmed by Winota, I see. Okay, that's actually not the worst, but we have to find an answer like right now, and we just don't. God, it's disgusting. Among creature with the greatest power, I mean, it would make them sack Winota. They just play another Winota. So we do this, and we draw a card, and we just hope that it's removal spell. Ooh, no. We draw a card. Nice. You are late, my friend. You are late. I actually like this hand. We're gonna need one more blue source, but we can hold open interaction pretty much forever and draw a million cards off these inventories if the opponent doesn't do anything. And Castle isn't too punishing because it enters tapped on turn 1 where we have nothing to do anyways. Now where the real question comes in. Inventory reverse. I like inventory. I'm not even sure that they're going to play anything here. And at least we know that we can start drawing cards. Just like I said, we don't know if the opponent's even going to do anything. How greedy is it to play this tapped? I think it's too greedy. I'm going to do it. We don't hold open Vanishing Verse. Opponent did this and did nothing, so I don't know, is this going to be good? I don't think I know their deck enough. We're just going to pass. We're going to say no because we have another counterspell here. That could have been a huge mistake. It might not have been. We really just don't know what they're going to be on. That's fine. We can draw some cards. We find one anyways, okay. Can play the white source. So do we exile it? I think we just foretell a Sot coming, hold open Vanishing Verse, and Test of Talents and the Sot coming. Because they took it really slow, so I think we can... Ooh, they play a Blade Historian. This is monocolored permanent, so we have to deal with this in another way. We can counter it. Or we can Vanishing Verse the Bone Crusher Giant and bounce it to the hand with the Ashiok and then counter it afterwards. I kind of like that. We take 2 for doing this, but I think that's okay. So it comes down, does nothing, and we have a Heartless Act as well. But because the board is so clean, I think we resolve Ashiok. I don't know when else we're going to have the time to do something like this. It's like the perfect opportunity. And the opponent has to ditch a card. They actually ditch the Blade Historian, so Ashiok just acts as a removal spell. Ooh, okay. Okay. I see you. We can go, like, even. I do want more black to be able to start drawing off the castle. You know what? Sure. I could technically bluff Vanishing Verse, but whatever. So we go even, take out these spirits. This is actually a spirit too, technically, but whatever. We make the 2/3 to block, and we hold everything open. Winota. I mean, dies to Heartless Act, right? We can just counter it. Is there anything else we'd rather counter? I don't know, I think it's fine just killing it. Maybe that was wrong, because we could technically tap out for 6 mana on something. I'm not sure. Let's play the Tome. Should have just plussed whatever. Yeah, we're gonna plus. I can draw off the Tome. Sure. Frantic, nice. We don't need more white. We'll just go for more blue and pass with everything open. Could have also held open draw, but I think this is okay. They say good game. I think they're just going to scoop. Yeah, we have locked it in there. So I don't even think we saw any new cards that game. No, we saw Vanishing Verse. Absolute MVP that card is. Goes crazy. But they had a slow, awkward Winota draw, and we just had enough spot removal and card draw to just take over the game. Alright guys, and we are back. So this is definitely my style of Magic. I find this incredibly fun. Just draw, go, kill a thing, counter some spells, slam a big planeswalker, and hope it gets you there kind of thing. I don't know, it's just a lot of fun, a lot of incremental card advantage. I don't think it's going to be the most powerful deck out there, and in fact, I think just splashing white makes the deck a little bit weaker. Even though the splash isn't horrible, it makes you pretty reliant to have it on 2 for the Vanishing Verse. Like, casting the command on 4 is typically never an issue, but I have lost games needing the removal spell on 2 or 3 and just not having the white source. But we do have like 8, 9 untapped white sources for turn 2 potentially, which isn't horrible because we are a 26 land deck, sorry. But yeah, it is a lot of fun. I wouldn't go out and craft, actually, I wouldn't craft many of these cards unless you already have them. It's more of a thing for fun. One card I could just never get to work is Divide by Zero. I am going to keep trying this. I just don't draw it very often. And it just doesn't do it all the time for me. I don't know. The learn cards aren't exactly amazing, and maybe these should just be 2 Sod Comings. But then the mana gets a lot trickier, and the whole reason we have this instead of 2 Sod Comings is 1, it's a tempo play that gets you card advantage, and 2, the mana cost isn't as steep. I don't know, play with it, try it out. Don't craft any of these cards, any of the rare cards or mythics here. You can craft the commons or uncommons, that's really whatever. And if you don't have like Mascot Exhibition, just replace it with a 3 mana create token effect in Esper colors. Ideally like black or blue, because the white's going to be really hard to get 2 of. But anyways, guys, that's going to be it for me. Deck list will be in the description down below as always, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.